Happy New Hellos, everybody. It's time for Japanese New Year and all of my predictions for the year of 2021. New Year's off!
Hagaki-Yoi! Roll the salt, get in the ring. Welcome to the Dohyo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a wonderful new year here at the Dohyo on Mr. J-Wag's channel. Let me explain. So, Silver Syn had won the Name the Viewer Mail segment, which will be coming in a couple episodes, our very first edition of Hagaki-Yoi. Silver Syn gets to hashtag pick the flannel. The request was specifically for an ugly holiday flannel, and I don't really have any holiday-themed flannels, so I just decided to sort of franken together holiday cheer for you. So, Silver Syn, thank you for entering the contest. You have picked the flannel. And before we jump into those predictions, we do have some sumo shoutouts. My buddies at Grand Sumo Breakdown are at it again. They have put together the 2020 year-end awards. They have an awards list for all of 2020. So if you love sumo and the director's cut of Return of the King, you are going to love this 3-hour, 8-minute podcast that is really sort of like the Avengers of English language sumo, at least those of us who are here on YouTube. Jason from Jason's All-Sumo channel is there. Kintamayama participated. Sumo Kaboom. Sumo Mayanichi, the Australian podcast. Tachi.org. And then, of course, like the Grand Sumo Breakdown people. And, of course, myself. So, like, Avengers assemble, even though I clearly know I'm the Hawkeye in this situation. And I think Jason is Cap. No one gets to be Iron Man. All right, now just so everyone is sure, these are full year predictions. These are not just predictions for the January Basho. We're going to do those in a separate video. For the entirety of the year 2021, what will happen in sumo? Prediction number 1. No Maegashira 17 will win a Yusho. You heard it here first. Yes, last year we had a lot of Maegashira 17 success, which was amazing, but as we know, very ahistorical. Not going to happen again this year. My second prediction is that both of our current Yokozuna are going to go Intai. They will retire. Yes, I think both of our wonderful, wonderful, very, very long-serving Yokozuna are both going to hang up the Mawashi this year. They've both earned it. They've been around sumo for years and years and years, and Kakuryu, of course, just got his Japanese citizenship, which will allow him to purchase Elder Stock and become an Oyakata, which is great, because frankly, of the 4 Yokozuna that have been in my fandom, he's the one I imagine would make the best Oyakata. So good for you, Kakuryu. Whenever you do retire, thank you for the memories. But it's probably going to be very soon. Number 3. We are going to lose one of our current Ozeki. They're going to get demoted. However, they may get it back, as my 4th prediction says that we are going to get 2 new Ozeki, one of whom was an Ozeki before. So of those former Ozeki, that would leave us with Terano Fuji, Takeyasu, Tochinoshin, and if one of our Kataban Ozeki ends up getting demoted, they would have the opportunity to pop back up to Ozeki with 10 wins at Sakiwake, so that would do it too. But that wouldn't really be a new Ozeki. So yes, 2 new Ozeki, at least one will be a former Ozeki, and that other Ozeki slot, if it's not a former Ozeki, I'm pretty willing to bet it's the same people I thought last year were going to make an Ozeki run, with the exception, of course, of Asanoyama, who became an Ozeki, and Abi, who will not be talked about for another Basho yet. But I think Mitakeyumi, Hokuto Fuji, and Daisho could all put together a string of 3 basho that takes them to the rank of Ozeki. As some of you may recall, I finished 2020 on a sort of year in review, and I ranked my top 5 Rikishi of 2020. And it was Hakuho, Asanoyama, Shodai, Takakeisho, and Teranafuji. Now those 5 I said were going to fight it out for the alpha dog of 2021. So my prediction for those 5 is, those 5 are going to win 5 basho. But they're not all going to win 1. One of those 5 is going to win 2, and one of those 5 is going to win 0. The one I think is going to win 2 is Takakeisho, and the one I think is going to win 0 is Shodai. So that takes care of 5 of the basho. So other than the implied prediction that we're not going to lose another basho this year due to COVID, please, I'm predicting that one Yusho is going to go to the field, which means a first-time Yusho winner or Mitake-Yumi Part 3. I am very excited that we have a lot of younger, exciting wrestlers working their way through the ranks, and I think these 4 wrestlers are going to make their Sanyaku debuts this year. Meisei, Wakataka Kage, Kota Shoho, and I think Onosho, he made Komusubi before, I think he will be making his triumphant return to the Sanyaku after his horrific knee injury. Like I said, this has been a transitional year, but I think the younger generation is here and ready to start kicking butt and taking some names and maybe claiming some ranks. In 2021, I'm afraid we are probably going to be seeing the last of some of our favorite wrestlers, or at least some of my favorites. Hagaki-Yoi, one of my faves. I don't see him sticking around too much longer. Older guys like Shahozan, Kaisei, Sadano Umi may not be here this time next year. And the ones that are very sad to me, if we look at Kota Shogiku, I think a lot of us expected him to be sort of there forever. It hurts in the heart to see that he's gone. I think Tochinoshin is the guy we are most likely to see sort of take that step and then not make it out of Juryo again. Nothing against the guy. He's a great fighting spirit. I love him. I've spoken very often on this channel of my love for Tochinoshin and the respect for all the work he's put in. But that leg is a ticking time bomb. He's not getting any faster, and it's tough to get stronger when you're that age in sumo. So if this is Tochinoshin's last year, let's enjoy the time we have and hope he can pull out the Sky Crane 1 or 2 more times. And this one just feels like more of a gut feeling, but I think this may be the last year we see Enho. I know, he's very young and looks even younger, but he has not seemed to be able to put any sort of momentum into his fighting ever since Hakuho has started missing a lot of tournaments. Hakuho seems to be his sort of like good luck charm, like his like Iron Man, like sort of like power energy source. Without Hakuho, is Enho going to want to recover from these injuries, keep living the sumo life, keep getting his butt handed to him by people who've sort of figured out his moves? Or would he perhaps want to say, I've had it with this, perhaps I can go make money in TV? So I think a lot is going to depend on how long Hakuho stays in the top division and how Enho reacts to his demotion to Juryo. But this might be the last year we see Enho. All right, my final prediction. We are going to have one new Yokozuna in 2021. I'm going to count down my top 5 most likely. Number 5, Shodai. Now, I feel like I've come so far on the Shodai journey just to start like backsliding now. It's like, I love the fact that Shodai made Ozeki. It's just that he just got hurt. And if anything happens to his sort of like Ozeki momentum and his Yokozuna momentum, he's 29, an age where most people don't really make their first Yokozuna run. I'm not saying it's out of the question that he makes a Yokozuna run, but let's see how he does in January. Number 4, and this one might get me a little bit of hate in the comments, Asanoyama. Asanoyama, a great Rikishi. I think he's wonderful for the sport. Incredibly consistent. I'm less worried about his injury than Shodai, but as I've said several times before, he's never won 13 matches in a tournament at any level. So if they're saying that Taka Keisho needs to start getting 14 a tournament to count as a Yokozuna, how is Asanoyama going to do that? If Asanoyama has an extra level, we'll see it this year, I hope. And yes, I do think he's going to win a championship next year. And third most likely to be our next Yokozuna this year? Nobody. I think we have the third best chance of nobody getting promoted over the other 2, for the reasons I've already stated, and just, it's a hard thing to do, especially right now in sumo where there's not one person who's sticking out over everyone else. We all have a couple wrestlers who seem to be able to like beat one guy but not the other guy. We have some amazing Maegashira runs that have happened. We have some guys like Hokuto Fuji and Takanosho and Mitake-Yumi who one day may be Yokozuna level sumo and the next day might not be. So in this current setup, it might be hard for one person to get out there and excel enough to get the rope. All right, second most likely to be our next Yokozuna, Terano Fuji. Now if you could tell me for sure, just like lockdown, that Terano Fuji's knees were going to last for the next 8 tournaments and he was not going to go Kyujo, I'd be willing to bet he was going to be our next Yokozuna. But of course, we can't guarantee that. Both of his knees and one of his elbows and his liver are all huge ticking time bombs in a sport where one joint injury can end your career. I do think Terano Fuji is likely to be an Ozeki this year, but follow me here. If he makes Ozeki even as soon as this tournament, that means March, he's probably going to have a bit of an Ozeki hangover from being feasted so much, from returning to Ozeki, doing all the interviews, the media, sort of stuff like that. Then, after that, he's going to need to put together a 2 basho run of excellence. So yes, he has the talent, he has the drive, he has the technique, he has the strength. Does he have the connective tissue at this point to be able to make it? We'll see. And all right, I can already sense a lot of the hate bubbling up. Taka Keisho is our most likely next Yokozuna. He's the youngest. He has the most Yusho of any of the Ozeki. He's also beaten all of the most recent Yokozuna before this tournament. And he won the last tournament. And come to think about it, we are probably one Tochinoshin Henka away from us fighting right now that he should already be a Yokozuna. Think about it. If Tochinoshin doesn't Henka him here, Taka Keisho goes into the final weekend of that tournament tied with the Tobizaru Shodai people. Does Taka Keisho pull out then? Do we have an Ozeki Shodai? It's one of the things I love so much about sumo. So much riding on one Henka. So, of course, these were all scientific facts, none of them opinions. I have a time machine, so none of these predictions can possibly be wrong. So please let me know what you think of my predictions and let me know your predictions in the comments below. Thanks so much for coming back to the Dohyo here in 2021. We are going to have an amazing year. We are going to have the long-awaited Tama no Umi episode. It's been shot. I am editing it now, I promise. And we're going to have an episode about predictions for the January Thunderdome Basha that is coming up that I can't wait for. So all right, everyone, stay strong, stay safe, and I will see you next time on the Dohyo.